Restate your claim, please.
Capitalism inherently devalues creative pursuits and therefore is a net negative for society.
Okay.
So I actually kind of like the first part of your argument. I think that it does de-incentivize creative pursuits relative to a socialist or UBI world. Okay. Now, is it true in your world that this high level of creative pursuits is necessary for a good society? Right? Can you defend that proposition for me a bit?
Yes. So I think that people are not all made to work a job. I think everyone's brains have intricacies, whether that be diagnosable things like autism, ADHD, etc., or other non-specified things that make working a productive job not fulfilling for them. And I think the measure of success in a society should be the fulfillment of the most people. And I think some people in society are most fulfilled through creative pursuits.
Okay, but would you have a concern that in a UBI world people just completely stop working and then just, kind of just live off the UBI?
Well, so I think that obviously is a concern, but the thing with the universal basic income is that it would be such a small amount. It would be living on the necessities and no more, no less. I think FDR put it great when he said that the measure of progress in our society is not how much the rich can add to what they already have, but instead how much we can take care of everyone. I think while yes, there's that concern that people would just live off the system.
Okay, yes. Okay.
I think that is not a problem. I think we don't need to be worried about that.
Okay. Your FDR example, right, is that we have to take care of everyone. It's not about the rich contributing. But I would say that, if you basically remove the economic incentives for even if it doesn't provide you with a fulfillment, putting your head to the whatever, I don't know what the analogy is, but you're locked in, right? Even that you're grinding out a lot of labor, you're grinding out your 9 to 5. Even if you are not fulfilled, and you would be way more fulfilled drawing. That actually is a greater boon to society because of the economic growth you're triggering, which leads to say mutual defense, right? Yeah. For example, a society of creatives in which no one necessarily needs to produce some kind of profit instantly collapses because you have no collective defense.
I believe that, and this is going to go into the controversial. I believe that technology such as AI can allow us to eliminate jobs, but not eliminate jobs and then make people not have money to live. Instead, with greater automation, we don't need that collective defense because we don't need people to be working.
But if there's a utopia, if you're proposing, is your claim predicated on a good society, like a utopian vision of AI?
I wouldn't say it's predicated. I think AI is an example of a technology that could be used. But I think other technologies like mechanization of the production of cars. That was something that used to be done by hand and took much more labor, and now is done primarily through robots, but not AI, through machines.
Okay. I think this is a good bit. My point would be that we must kind of understand this claim in the society that we currently live in. And a capitalist model, right, I would say it does not inherently devalue creativity. I think that it really just does not value it in the subjective manner which it should be valued in, which could in some sense mean it is devalued. It could in some sense mean it's overvalued in some capacities, an accidental piece of, something that's accidental but then is, some amazing thing. Anyway,
I'd agree with that, to be honest.
But the idea that it's necessary for a flourishing society, I think collapses because in our current society, which is where we'd be which is the way we think about it, this resolution, creativity is very broad, right? I think you can, an entrepreneur displays creativity and is a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
Even in creating a for-profit company. And so creativity can be, I think, defined a little more broadly than the subjectivity of art. And I think the allowance in a society for greater artistic pursuits regardless of profitability is actually bad because it means that the working people now have to compensate for the unworking people who are now doing their artistic pursuits.
I think that's just where the definition of a successful society differs, where I think the measure is how many people can we make happy. It's a very dumb it down.
You're basically proponing a utilitarian framing.
Yes, a utilitarian framework where if we can say the satisfaction of some outweighs the dissatisfaction of others who are upset about their money being